Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. Cricket West Indies has contracted 18 of the best female talent in the region for the 2021-2022 season. This is the full list. Aliyah Alain, Shemaine Campbell, Shamilia Connell, Deandra Dottin, Afi Fletcher, Cherry Ann Fraser, Shabika Gajnabi, Shanita Grimond, Shanisha Hector, Chanel Henry, Qiana Joseph, Haley Matthews, Anissa Mohammed, Shadeen Nation, Karishma Ramarak, Kaysia Schultz, Shakira Selman, and of course the skipper, Stefani Taylor. In the previous cycle, CWI had given contracts to 15 women. Now, 2 developing players, Guyana's Kaysia Schultz and St. Lucia's Qiana Joseph, are being retained for the first time. Meanwhile, the head of the Windies selection panel, Roger Harper, has been explaining why some big names were absent from the list of 18 men's players retained for the new season published on Wednesday. Some regional experts say they are surprised that Roston Chase and Shamar Brooks have seemingly fallen out of favor.
Well, firstly, we have to appreciate as well that these are performance-based contracts. So the contracts are awarded based on performance during the evaluation period, as well as the panel, the selection panel must feel that the players will play a major role or form the nucleus of the various teams going forward. And the players who were not awarded contracts, their performances over the period did not meet the necessary criteria. And as well, you had new players who came to the fore and performed. So they were offered contracts. And like I said earlier, what we have to remember is that the players don't just fall off of the wheel, so to speak. They go back onto the franchise contract, the A-grade franchise contract.
Harper says Guyanese shot maker Shimron Hetmeyer has not been written off despite him losing his white ball retainer contract.
I still think that Shimron is the sort of player with the ability to really, be a world-class player in every format going forward. But I think that needs a particular kind of focus. And that's what we want to see from Shimron. So we just think that he just needs to be a little more focused and, try to maximize his skills that he's been blessed with as best as he could. And one of the things that you should note as well is if you lose your Western CWI contract, your regional contract, then you fall onto the franchise contract as well. So it's not that you're completely out of the system and left to your own devices. Naturally, when you have that sort of potential available, we want to see it, reach the sort of level that it is capable of reaching. So yes, we are concerned. Yes, we will continue to work with Shimron. And yes, we will try to get him to give the sort of focus that we think is required for him to maximize his potential.
That's Roger Harper, head of the Windies selection panel. Joining us to comment on the retained lists for both men and women is cricket analyst and managing director at VA Sports, Vernon Springer. Springs, how are you?
Good day to you guys. And let me just take some time out from VA Sports Media to wish all the mothers a very happy Mother's Day coming up on Sunday.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the women, the list released today. For you, are there any surprises on the list of retained players, the 18?
On behalf of the Leeward Islands Cricket Board and the YTD Cricket Club, I just want to be able to applaud Shanisha Brickney Hector, who is the Leeward Islands women's captain. She would have lost her contract. And because of that, we were able to put together a team which was headed by head coach Robert Joseph, Kerry Skeppel, Derek Marilon, and we had some expertise behind the process. Got her more or less a gym contract by Twist Gym, and then we had her retained with a manager, Mrs. Winnie Edwards Ambrose, who's an agent and manager, and so we worked behind the scenes to be able to make sure that we got her up to speed to be able to get her back onto the West Indies team. So we are now hoping for great things. 18 players, I think it is a good mix, but my real major concern, George, is when the ladies leave Antigua and Barbuda and they go back to their respective territories, the sort of work that is expected to be conducted by the coaches in the respective territories. I have a little bit concerned for that because I personally feel that maybe we have to come up with a system where we have to find some folks who can be able to have methods to deal with the women. I can't coach George the way how I would coach a young lady, a young man. There are different tones. Suppose one day when one of the ladies comes and she's maybe not in the mood and she's going through some periods, you might still be shouting and feel that it's okay that you could shout at George. The women is a little bit more delicate situation. So I personally feel that Courtney Walsh has his work cut out for him. It's all well that we come in and we have in some camps, but my major concern is when they go back, who are the persons that are put in charge to be able to make sure now that the work continues from Courtney Walsh, and not when they come back, he has to start all over again.
One more on the women, though, Vernon. I hear you, and the good point made. The two who have gotten a contract for the first time, Qiana Joseph and Kaysia Schultz. I'm sure many of the viewers around are not quite familiar with what those ladies bring to the table. Can you give us some insight?
Well, first of all, the thing about it, George, is that I only had a little brief spell of seeing them in the camp, and because of the COVID-19 restrictions and so I really can't make a full assessment. But the coaching staff and the scouts who would have moved around based on the women's program thought that it was pretty much. I kind of saw Qiana Joseph in the nets. Bright prospect from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so I'm hoping that she can be able to go from strength to strength. And so I think that the West Indies team, trying to get them in very early is going to be also very important. I think where West Indies maybe might have fell off in the last couple of years, George, is that I don't think we have invested in the women's cricket. Yeah. Yes, in terms of when they're going to the tournament. But what I think that we have to concentrate on now is the base. And I know COVID would have come in and shut down that program to a point now where we were supposed to have a Cricket West Indies under 19 tournament. COVID shut that down. But what I want to see is more female coaches getting involved in the program and more coaches where they're going to be dedicated to women's cricket. Because if you talk about the Leeward Islands, we maybe have to use our resources that we have in the Caribbean. Sherwin Campbell was one of our most successful women coaches, Henderson Springer. Maybe we need to be able to have a conversation with those guys and figure out now who are the weak links where we could bring those coaches involved to help with some of the program.
All right, Vernon, let's move quickly to the men because you've spoken about the women. Good to see Shawnisha Hector getting in there. Not often that we see Leeward Islands women getting into the West Indies setup. But we saw yesterday when the men's list was announced, a couple of decisions that some people found to be unexpected. Your thoughts on what Roger Harper has said to explain the omission of like a Roston Chase or a Shimron Hetmeyer or a Shamar Brooks?
Well, let me just go straight to the Shimron Hetmeyer. And I think we have to be very careful, George and Lance. Shimron Hetmeyer is one of the only players that is playing in the IPL. But let's look at the young man's ODI record. He's only 24 years of age. 24 years, 45 one-day internationals, 1,430 runs with 5 centuries and 4 half centuries, right? At an average of 36.66. And I sometimes don't like the tone of what I sometimes hear from Roger Harper in terms of focus. We just had a concluded CG Super 50 competition.
With good reason.
we can talk about that in the future, but I understand where you're going with it. This is a batsman with quality and a lot of talent. And I think, he needs to be mentored and given the opportunity to shine. But I guess Roger Harper does have a point. I will step away from you on that point because there does appear, I agree with Roger Harper, to be some issue of focus with the young man. Because I think he had a red ball contract. He had an all-format contract with the West Indies 2 cycles ago. And to be fair to the cricket selectors and so on, he has played a part in losing his pick with failing fitness tests and so on. But just going back to those 2 cycles ago, we had as many as 7 players, Vernon, who were given all format contracts. Jason Holder, Shea Hope, Alzari Joseph, Darren Bravo, Shimron Hetmeyer, several of them. Now we see just one with all format contracts, Jason Holder. Do you detect a kind of change in the Cricket West Indies application of the policy, because it does allow for 22 players in each cycle to be given contracts. Probably a more strict application of how they award these contracts now?
Well, I think if you look at what's going on, it's also a financial decision that would have been taken by Cricket West Indies. And based on the amount of cricket that these guys would have played over the last period of time and based on their performances, a lot of the guys who ended up out of contract really did not perform in all creditably of their roles. You could say all what you want about Jason Holder. I think if we're supposed to have a man of the year in the Caribbean, we're going to have to give it to Jason Holder, because despite all what he has gone through, he's still been able to maintain focus in all three formats. So I give him credit for that. What is going to happen now is because of the West Indies' new structure and how they're going about in setting up for a red ball, white ball, I'm hoping they're not thinking and saying, well, listen, Rakeem Cornwall, even though he's got a red ball contract, we may be not thinking about him for the white ball, because when you look at his regional record, he's easily one of the best white ball players that we've had in a period of time. Coming back again to what Roger Harper was talking about, Chairman Hetmeyer, at age 24, Lance and George, for somebody to have 5 centuries, ODI centuries for the West Indies, I don't know how much more focus basically that you want. And I'm saying, but that's another discussion.
We're out of time. Has gotten the better of us, Springs. We're going to invite you back to have that wide-ranging discussion, and especially the point about Hetmeyer opening the batting at Test cricket. I really want to engage you on that, my friend. So we'll contact you again through Vast Sports. That's Vernon Springer, our friend down there in the Leeward Islands. Shimron Hetmeyer opening the innings in Test cricket. That's a debate. That's a debate for the zone. Right now, we make way for At the Track. Guess what? Celebrity Knock is back.
Yes, you heard right. This is where we invite influential or prominent persons within society on the SportsMax Zone.
Everybody want to know what one? Good enough.
George loves to imitate other people.
Yes, murder.
Yes. And nobody here is an alien.
Join us this Friday, 5:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m. ECT on the SportsMax Zone to see which celebrity will be knocking. Celebrity Knock, where entertainment meets sports.